Okay, part 3. Check out part 1 to get started my story. Part 2 is essentially a summation of what I had happen in the box, where I essentially end at 33 minutes. My experience of essentially fighting 3 security guards, where I experienced my spirit leave my body. And the next day, I don't know when it was, I woke up in an ambulance in different clothes with Lee Brooks, former fire chief wife, whatever we call this, I don't know at this point, space and time, looking down on me. And I'm just like, I made it out, I'm alive. I am taken to a facility. I say nothing. I will also say, if you listen to my story, if you're not catching this as the first one, July 3rd, which was the evening, so for me, July 4th, I am told essentially, listen for 40 days. And so this is happening July 4th. This is now July 6th or July 7th, I believe. July 8th, maybe. Yeah. I went in on the July 6th. So I have on Earth Day, July 4th, the 5th. I had a whole documented day. July 6th, which July 5th, I will say too, I have a video that says they're coming, they're coming, they're coming. I was cleaning my whole house. Kind of already knew what was happening, I guess. I don't know. Either way, I still get to be a victim of this crime, I believe. Yes, there's a higher dimensional reality where everything is orchestrated and perfect and good and all things. I have an impact on the physical that's some reason, somehow, some way, no one seems to want to bring justice for me. Love, what does it talk about love, justice, and mercy? I'm not here to get you in trouble. I'm here for restoration and restitution, as I believe it's rightfully mine. I also believe there's many, many, many behind me that deserve the same thing. I believe we find a way to do this. And I believe I am a catalyst for unlocking that as a possibility on the planet. So if you don't want it for me, you don't want it for them, you don't want it for us. So I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until I get it. And I just want you to know I'm a quantum reality architect. I get what I want. I'm just going to keep saying that. I just also am surrendered to the divine will, divine timing, and how everything's orchestrated together. And I know it's orchestrated for good because heaven on earth is here and it has to happen. I also just believe God is a God of action, that we are called to act, that Jesus in many ways did yoga of action. We're called to action, not sit on a Bodhisattva tree or whatever and Buddha, you bliss yourself out. No, Jesus went in, he did things. And maybe Buddha did too, I don't know. I haven't had to necessarily use Buddha or ayahuasca or other spiritual tools to get me here. I pretty much just raw dog in this life with Jesus. For some reason, this was a discovery today too. There's someone that I'm friends with who highly recommends this guru, and they essentially said there's only one person in the Western world that's enlightened, and I experienced Ascension Day. I experienced the died and went to heaven. I experienced my life, and I experienced myself pretty enlightened. I also experience a nervous system of a human that's been traumatized and all these things because I've yet to find the clearing and the safety to be here in a way that doesn't activate that. There's just a human under here that knows she's enlightened and just waits in time for it to happen. And this guru said that essentially I needed to do 100 hours of their practice and then they'll talk to me. This is another propaganda thing that I'm producing too. This experience of Christ consciousness that we're all preaching and talking about that Christians cannot be with. And I'm just like, y'all, you realize you have the perfect in to literally harvest all of these spiritual Christians because they believe in Jesus too into your own little reality. And we get to all be in the third way, middle, magical thing, solving all the problems and meeting all the needs and providing all the solutions and all the things if we just could begin to have a conversation about some of these things. Let's just start. Let's just try it. The locked box of hell that is Christian culture can't have a conversation because demons are there. The thing that I don't get, because I've been kicked out of a church for this, is that if Jesus casted out demons, why are they afraid of demons? Actually, so I went to Remnant Church. And I will say, struggle bus, hardcore on them, and they're very much Christian nationalists. The thing is, they also believe Jesus is doing something right now, and I do too. And I'm just literally will go anywhere where people believe anything's happening and that heaven on earth is here or could be here. I'm any conversation. And if you think you're the second coming of Christ, like I will pass the mic, the platform, everything. I just want to get out of here and be done. I just also know my Jesus went in. My Jesus does the things. So I keep showing up for him. taking the hit, taking the brunt, taking the spit on the face. Hak tui. It's fascinating that just add a little figure 8 in my hips there. I said I hacked the energy in the nervous system, right? So I have this theory of hypnosis and hypnotic conversation, and you're a hook, line, and sinker, and now we got your consciousness and mine. We're all in this together. This is above my pay grade. I just show up and try to human, and you've got my whole story now. So we got part 3 is I like to do things in 3, and not really I like to do things in 3. Whatever is the embodied experience of God on the planet in and through my physical body really likes 3s and the pattern of 3s and all the 3s and all the 3s and all the 3s. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And I very much experienced this God in 3 persons in me based on my experience, because again, I shared the experience of being traumatized and psychological torture of being in isolation for the rest of your life because they believe you're the second coming of Christ. So they're not going to let you out. You're crazy. You're a criminal. Kind of like what Jesus had happen. The same way he went is the same way he came. Maybe. Gotta sneeze. But I'm not going to do it. You can have your pick. You can have your say. All I'm going to know is that in the big book of birthdays, my birthday is called the Cosmic Comedy. So again, I'm in that box, recording all my content, recording all methodology, recording how it all makes sense. How I'm the second coming of Christ, gonna die in a box. And then thanks be to Jesus, I did all that, and then I fell asleep and woke up, and I was like, Jesus, please don't make this happen. And I go out and I get to scream Jesus and break Jesus free so he could come here again because he's consciousness. Because I don't want to be Jesus, except I told them I was. And as people have told me, it's not illegal to be Jesus. If you do things in Jesus' name that is not in alignment with his character, it could be considered illegal. It also could be considered mental health distortion based on the trauma that you've been programmed into. Because right now we have a turn or burn mentality, and we also have revelations that people in Christian culture are preaching as reality. Which in all reality, revelations essentially was a possibility and possibly a big old DMT trip. So I don't know what's next. All I know is I want to finish this out in part 3. I feel very complete with my story. I feel like it's all documented in divine orchestration, hour and a half-ish, possibly for you to watch and listen to. As I've tried to tell my story so many times over, and every single time it is in a very intense energy that I'm defending myself and talking very firmly, and I believe it activates the ego in such a way that people haven't been able to be with. And so I've continued to edit myself, work on myself, and get myself into your little box so you could hear me today. Because 2 years ago, I wanted justice for my experience, and because my true, real, authentic expression of the pain I went through was unable to be heard, I had to work on myself for 2 years to finally have the capacity to communicate in a way that your ego can be with. So I don't know who's watching this today. If you watch this, I'd love to know. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a world changer, whether you're for or against me. We're all changing the world. Every breath we take, every life that is lived changes the world. We learn from it, or we use it to change the world, and then we learn from that. But I don't know what's next. I don't know what's next. I want to ask for money and sponsorship and restoration and all the things. I'll put the link down below if you feel called or led. I'd love that. It's just really hard to ask for money when I've got a long list of friends who could use it more than me. God has provided and orchestrated all of my needs radically. Yes, I want to make the millions. Yes, I live every day as I'm a millionaire, and I'm just waiting for it to download on the quantum. And I don't know what's next. And I'm okay with that. I'd love to know what's there for you. I'd love to have you on my podcast. The challenge I have is the embodiment I have kind of has this like echelon bar. And if you're able to have this conversation, just know you are tuned into that frequency, that radio station. And as within, so without, you and me both, baby. Whoever you are, however you are, we're one and the same. You literally could not hear me if you weren't. And I am so tired of doing this alone. The thing is, what's there for me with you is I want to do it in a way that honors your system, that honors your truth and honors your life. And much of what I've created around the free human movement, I went radically loud for 2 years to discover what's out there when you become God on earth. Because last time we did it, 2,000 years ago, they murdered this energy and they continue to do that today. And as we know, or so we are told, the first will be last and the last will be first. And so much of my pretty privileged white girl life that I had before, and the white picket fence and $1 million house and all the magical things that I now don't have that. Well, yes, I have nothing. I have freedom. I have liberation. And I have a divine union of myself and myself, me and Jesus married. And a divine union partner who every day shows up and works to navigate this reality with me, who also has manifested wild experiences that don't help my case, don't help his case. I don't know. You get to see. And I will say this, I believe we are desperate, beyond desperate, like heart cry plea, is to help this be real and to help us no longer be alone. Because I know I'm not alone. Again, 4th of July, I experienced it Ascension Day. I essentially knew all ascended. I'm just looking for people that are essentially turned in, tapped in, tuned onto this energy. We've been doing the work. We're here. It's just how do we come together? And I'm willing to be seen because I already have, and I've already learned, and I've already come to peace with dying in a box and being seen by the world, orgasming for the rest of my life, because that's what the 144,000 followers on TikTok content creator died in a lock box of hell, jail cell, whatever wanted to see. I already saw the news title, I already lived with that reality. I already came to peace with dying, knowing that was going to be my legacy. Literally it's like, y'all are gonna figure it out. Yeah, the video, well, audio is probably not there. It's just I talked in ways that people could read my lips. And so I'd come to peace with dying, and I am at peace with the whole world seeing my face if they need to. The just gift that I have is Jesus 2.0 over to my left. I don't want to be the second coming of Christ and the psychosis that we have created around looking for a man to come out of the sky that is making people die today because of these beliefs. Because we weren't made to die. Except the misunderstanding and psychosis of the flipped upside down reality that I just by chance made sense of with my autistic genius mind. And that I want to talk about publicly. It's just when I go public, it's a full frontal attack. And I just look to Jesus and say, Jesus died so I didn't have to. Yes, it's a full frontal attack. Yes, it is used and abused, and all the Christians telling me how I'm demonic, how I'm deceptive, how I'm all these things. Take your pick. And why I've chose to go public is to put on display that the enemy, your ego, is not creative. It's literally like rinse, cycle, repeat. Do you want to see what you're going to say? It's going to be a programmed response, a canned response that you've been programmed to say. Whether that's weird in the sense it's not creative. It's literally everyone in that space says the same thing over and over again. And I'm here for those who are creative and those who are tapped into their divine expression, because what comes out of your mouth is going to be unique and no one else is going to say it. And that's what I want to create here, a space where no matter who you are, you're guided, protected, seen, felt, heard, touched, understood, as in like, I see God in you. I see you in your truth. I see you in the truth. I see you as the word. I see you as word. I see you. That is for or against any spectrum space that you hold. All of it, all of us, all of you is divinely orchestrated. We are at the bottom of the barrel, final drain. You can cling on all you want. And what's there is what you're clinging onto, like your feet are on the ground. this big bad wolf that you've made the demons into, you literally have a savior who died so they would die. And I don't think I finished that story, that I was going to Remnant Church because they believe Jesus is here, and they were, well, they don't believe Jesus is here. They believe he's coming out of the sky, I believe. I don't know. Either way, I just went and kept my mouth shut. They had so many prophetic experiences over me. I'm a 6-2 sacral generator. One of the first nights they prayed for me, they said, "Why am I being called to your belly?" And I'm like, "Because I follow my sacral." And it was just so tapped in. And this so tapped in. They were getting all these messages for me, all this stuff. And they were reading the book Follow Me by David Platt, and I was going to Bible study, and I loved it. It was community talking about Jesus, and I just showed up and was myself while also not full story all the time. Either way, showing up as myself as best I could. And I'm informed that the lady's house that I was at, that she had demonic activity after life group, whatever day, the last day I went to. And they pinned that on me. What's fascinating is this woman is a nutritional therapy practitioner also. The same school I went to, she went to. She practices that. And she had shared that she can't essentially live without the TV being on. Essentially, she listens to the news all day long. The first time I went to Remnant Church, they were reading bills from the government. The next time I went to Remnant Church, because this was Felix Bagera, if you watched the beginning of my story, he was one of the only people that showed up and said, "She's having a spiritual awakening." He showed up. He actually hired me to work for him, and I was able to make money. It was a gift to me. And he sided with the church. So as much as he got me wrapped up in the religious cult, totally. Is he still wrapped up in a religious cult? Christian nationalism, totally. And he said he's ready to give an account. So there's the truth. You can do with it as you wish. The challenge I have is people who believe in Christian nationalism, they see me as demonic. And I don't get how. I don't get how I show up and demons, this person's experience at their house, happen, and that's my fault. I thought Jesus casted out demons. I guess not in her house. So again, I avoid the psyops and spiritual woo, and I just don't go over there. Like, keep down the middle, give me science, give me a no woo. Like, human design's like the only thing I'll play around with. I do not like the woo. It is unhinged on so many levels. We have no clue, and so I want to make it make sense here now. The challenge I have is the medical experience of reading the psych or the sleep medications and collapsing, and someone who watches the news having demonic activity in their house. I've never experienced demonic activity. I've never experienced anything dark. I have experienced a channel message come through me. I have experienced one time a unique experience I'm not going to get into today. I do not perceive it as demonic, so I'm just going to let that go. And I'm trying to make sense of it every day. I'm an open book. Again, 6-2 sacral generator. What that means is role model, hermit. My sacral is my strategy authority. There's just a wait to respond. And I don't want to wait. How am I supposed to wait? I had this epiphany this morning too. Did I just waste 2 years of just not waiting and just going? It feels like trying to break through a brick wall. And no, I learned so much about myself. I learned about so many things and found so many connections, so many people, and so many people, and so many people, and so many people. Sadly, majority of those people are no longer in my life today. Not like they're still alive. They just have determined things about me that I can't live beyond. So I'm a whole bunch of mean things. And you get to be the judge. All I know is I believe from the depths of my soul, as I am all bets on this reality, that I'm on the right side of history. And if you do any research around Dietrich Bonhoeffer and Hitler's time, a little sneeze there, trying to make it go away. Essentially, inaction is action. To not speak is to speak. And so for those in my world that don't want to be on mission with me, I understand. I just don't know how to exist with someone who does not live in light of heaven on earth being here. or any curiosity or capacity to discover how that could be real or true, and instead demonize, reject, betray, and abandon me because of my declaration. To call me crazy, to call me psychosis, to call me all these mean and terrible things, to call me a bully and all of these things. I stand behind every word I have said, every action I have taken. There was one time I yelled at my sister that I did not like, and I was having a PDA profile autistic reaction. That was not very nice. I can stand behind that one. That was not very nice. And every other time has been in response to people's energy trying to take my sovereignty and freedom away. And I will, as you've discovered, fight to my death before that happens. And for some reason in the Western world, when you fight for your freedom, you're considered a threat to yourself and everyone else. So time will tell. The truth will come out and the truth will prevail. We know that. It's all divinely orchestrated. It doesn't stop. And I've just got 2 years of proof as we come around the bend. 2 years now. God is good. God is in control. Jesus is king. Every knee will bow. Every tongue will confess. If that doesn't make sense to you and you've got a whole egoic structure that can't be with that today, I'd love to talk. I'm not asking you to believe Jesus. In fact, I love my atheist friends more than anything because they actually have a dialogue with me because they don't believe in the tooth fairy. And much of the Western religious and spiritual reality has made Jesus into something that he is not, and it lives and live inside of me. And setting Jesus free is that the very thing Jesus died for and because is what we've turned him into. A religion that murders people in Jesus' name, the very thing he died for. And so I live every day watching my Christian friends pray for me, pray that they hope I find the peace of Jesus. Not realizing the peace of Jesus flips tables, the peace of Jesus dies on a cross, the peace of Jesus changes the world for eternity. And so when I don't look the way you want me to, when I don't fit inside of your box, realize I don't really like boxes. And I broke free of one to the point of my near-death experience, to where I gave up my spirit and I am alive here today, not having really a clue what to do other than just show up and try to find someone who has a conversation with me. And all I know is if you are listening and you're the conversation, it was all divinely aligned. It was divinely orchestrated. You'll have a component in your body that can't help but respond. You have this activation. I can't really tell you. I mean, I can say, listen to that, except I'm not the one tapped into your bat phone. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here for you to operate with sovereign, free authority of your own volition. I want to give you something to respond to. Do you want to talk to me? Do you want to be on my podcast? Do you want to create with me? Do you want to be in this world with me? Do you want to be in heaven with me? Accept Jesus into your heart, which makes no fucking sense. I'm just going to say this out. This is a policy leak thing I was discovering recently. We all are given the divine spark, the divine what seed, however you want to see it. We're born into this world as God, a fractal of God, a unique embodiment of God on earth as man become God or God become man. Yeah, that's what it's God become man as you get birthed on this earth. You're tapped in, you can see the science and mechanics of the brain states and all the things. And then you get taught and programmed to essentially an upside down reality where you're bad, broken, and wrong. And so we have this bad, broken, and wrong society, literally programmed to the antithesis, anti-Christ. And then we claim that as our identity. Except our identity in Christ, the one we're born with, is of the world, not in the world, but not of the world, in the world, not of the world, that's what it is. And then the mechanics get really tricky there, because if God created the world, that's where it's struggling to translate. I am of the world. God created me. I just also know there's something here fighting for my freedom, fighting for my liberation, fighting against something that wants to take my life, that wants me to live subpar and below the standard Jesus has set for us. So I don't know what's next. I want to launch a church so bad. I want to preach every day. I want to read the Bible. I want to teach gene keys. I want to get everyone into their human design. There's 1.5 million things I want to do. I just don't believe I can quote unquote do them until people actually get who I am, what I am, and what I'm up to. Until you're looking through my eyes, which are the eyes of Christ, which I understand is the 12th dimension. You don't look out and see the same world that I do. And so we're in many ways on two different levels, two different stations, two different realities. And I don't know what it's going to take for us to be in the same world because I believe we're in the same world. I don't know what it will take though. I don't know how to have the same eyes. I want to look through your eyes. I want to see your world. I want to see how it is for you. And I want to ensure all your needs are met and that you are radically liberated, walking in heaven and earth 100% of the time. And so for me, with my near-death experience, knowing I was in heaven before I died and gave my spirit on July 7th, when I woke up in the ambulance, I believe those dates are correct. I have no idea. Wasn't given space or time or any awareness. I have lived 100% of the time, 24/7, my brain and body, based on the lockbox of hell psychosis I went through. I am in heaven 100% of the time, walk in divine alignment, watch the lockstep grid of time always. The only time I'm not in heaven is when I'm trying to explain heaven to someone. Because it doesn't need to be explained, it just is. I just also talk to people who don't believe in their heaven, so I just don't know what to do other than have these conversations. I don't know how to get us in the same world. I don't know how to do that because heaven is here. I believe it's a nervous system thing. I believe it's parasympathetic, which you get polyvagal and understand. And that was my theory, and I'll leave it at this. When I went to nutritional therapy practitioner school, the first book that I read was The Whole Detox. Discovered the chakras inside of that book and how they were tied to food. And essentially, I went out to Costco and bought all the red food, and then all of a sudden the light bulb went off. It just made sense. Everything made sense through the chakra system. Everything had space and order and just was linear to me. And boy, did that love my heart and my soul with my autistic OCD brain. It was math to me. Numbers, colors, math. I loved it. My whole life began orchestrating that way. I had a whole system, root, flow, fire. When you essentially get rooted in the truth, unconditional love that you're whole and complete, found that at Landmark Farm. When you take actions in alignment with that truth, you will discover. So root, red, orange, sacral. Didn't even know sacral was a thing prior to then. Red, orange, yellow, solar plexus. You will discover essentially fire. You'll get lit up for it, or you get activated and have this activation in your body with yellow. And when you do that enough time, you will light your heart space green, essentially up. You will be doing it from love when you're rooted in love and you take action in alignment with love and you discover and define and discover and define and find things that light you up. You will light your heart space up. And when your heart space is lit up, you will begin speaking from your heart. And instead of talking like our Western world of just top down, ego, arrogant, preaching that doesn't have a fucking clue what they're saying, just parroting the message they found somewhere, you will have an embodied expression rooted coming from the ground up, have a conviction, a power, and a force that comes through you that will cast out demons. Just going to say that it's just the egoic structure that will then make you a bad thing. And yes, in the Western world, if you're in Washington State, could cause you be taken against your will. Just heads up, they don't like that. They don't like the truth. So when you speak, you begin to create a world that is in alignment with your heart, and you begin to see things in alignment with that. And why I say show up for none. I will show up for none until I find one who is in resonance with me, because that's the radical alignment experience that I created in 2020 and been talking about it publicly. You then essentially experience radical alignment, you experience divine alignment, divine radical alignment, whatever you want to call it. And I've been experiencing that for 4 years. This isn't new. And what's fascinating, people will be like, have you heard of Michael Singer? Have you read Michael Singer's book? And I'm like, I'm doing the same thing. Why can't you see that in me? Why can't you see, oh, you're doing the same thing as Michael Singer? Oh, why can't you see? Instead of telling me the book to read, why can't you say, oh, I see in you the same thing like this. It refers to this. Like, this is the frame I have it. Not preaching your solution. So I don't know how to get out of the context that makes me a bad, broken, wrong problem that needs to fix. Yes, I will have nervous system activated responses from being PDA profile, autistic with massive trauma, being taken against my will and psychologically tortured. Limbic brain, essentially full animal mode. You can see my human be real out loud. And what you do and judge with me is the same thing that's keeping you from being in heaven. Because my full human is welcome here. God loves the full thing. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Whoever believes in him shall not perish and have eternal life. And inside of that, that is all of me. Jesus died for my sins, all the separation, all the things that would cause me to be anti-Christ, that causes me to be against the process of that, is accounted for in the life, death, and burial and resurrection of Jesus. So it's fascinating. As I hit 30 minutes, I'm going to try to finish it at 33 again. I preach the gospel. And also too, if you find the Bible, it will say, Paul essentially says, if someone preaches the gospel contrary to the gospel of Christ, let him be accursed. And that is currently what I see in Western Christianity today, a complete accursed space that continues to manifest heaven on earth is here as hell is real. Torturing and murdering a man on a cross who has died and rose and is here. He lives inside of me. He lives inside of you. He is all of us. The end. That is my sermon. That is my story. That is my song. Do I live every day in light of just wanting to celebrate heaven being here, as I try every day for 2 years? And part of me goes absolutely insane because I can't seem to connect the dots of anyone who wants to celebrate this. Do I believe when this makes sense, it pops the fuck off in ways that are viral and yeah, we can't stop it? Do I believe every day that I can make this make sense? The whole world wakes up and we don't go to work tomorrow and we begin to meet each other's needs and find a real solution and not try to end each other's life anymore? Yes, I believe that is real. And if I can't hold that as a possibility, I don't know what we're doing here. I like to say big dreams and baby steps. I also like to say cheers to living an unbelievable life. Those are two things I've been saying for a long time. I also like to say I'm a grounded, powerful co-creator. I want my desires and manifest my dreams. So as I finish this out, is desire for you to connect with me. Desire for us to have some sort of connection. I desire you to make yourself real in whatever way feels good for you, and just let you know I want to make you feel safe. If you do come at me in regards to personal attacking, I will use you as an example. If you are a leader, if you're a human, just being a human, I have nothing against you. Be a human. If you are a leader and a coach and ask people to pay for money with you directly, and you're out to essentially get paid for your services and you are wanting to harm me, I believe you are essentially going to be doing that same thing to anyone that you work with. And so I do red flag in that, and I am happy to expose the embodiment of that, not you personally, just your case study, to show the world why we need to wake up to the abusive and traumatic experience of both spiritual leaders in the church and spiritual leaders in the love and light. So that is my story. That is my song. Thank you for being here. 33 minutes again, because you know I like 33 minutes. I cannot wait for this integration to happen, because this is magic and miracles that I got this to go out today. Big love to you. Peace, love, happiness, and please, all the things over there. Love you.